Hello and welcome to Nikolay's genetics lessons, and today's video going to be about how to find allelic and genotypic frequencies. And here's a problem. For a certain gene, dominant allele A is dominant to recessive allele A. In population of 400 individuals, only 4 have the recessive phenotype. The rest are dominant. And the first question, what is the estimated frequencies of the dominant allele and recessive allele? We can answer this question if we would use a Hardy-Weinberg formula, and this formula gives us proportions of 3 genotypes that can be made by 2 alleles. So here's the formula: p squared plus 2pq plus q squared, and all this equals to 1. So in this formula we are using p and q, so these two alleles would make 100% of the alleles in the population, and p stands for the dominant allele A and q stands for the recessive allele A. So p squared stands for the homozygous dominant genotype, and 2pq stands for the heterozygous genotype. Q squared stands for the homozygous recessive genotype. And now we know that frequency of the recessive phenotype is 4 out of 400, and these two genotypes here represent one dominant phenotype, and another phenotype would be represented by this genotype. And if we know that frequency of this genotype equal to 4 out of 400, we can tell that frequency of this genotype would be 1%. So 4 out of 400 would be 1%. Or we can say frequency on the scale between 0 and 1 would be 0.01. If we know frequency of the homozygous recessive genotype that represented in this formula by q squared, we can find q. So q would equal to square root taken out of 0.01. So q would equal to 0.1. And if we know the frequency of the q allele or recessive allele A, which is 0.1, we can easily find frequency of the dominant allele, which is going to be 0.9. And this is our answer to the first question. This is going to be frequencies of the recessive allele and dominant allele. What are the estimated frequencies of the dominant and recessive allele? Here is the frequencies. Now let's move to the second question. What proportion of the population would you expect to be heterozygous? And this part of the formula stands for the heterozygous genotype. So heterozygous genotype, capital A small a, would equal to 2pq, and we know that p is 0.9, so we have to multiply by 0.9, and we have to multiply by number q, which is 0.1, and this gives us frequency of this genotype as 0.18. So this is answer for the second question. Frequency of this genotype would be 0.18. And now it's of course super easy to give an answer what is the frequency of the homozygous dominant genotype. So we have to add these two numbers, 0.18 plus 0.01, we are going to get 0.19, and that gives us information that frequency of this genotype would be 0.81. So when we add all these three genotypes, we are going to get 1. Now let's answer question C. What assumptions have you made in answering question A and B? And assumptions for Hardy-Weinberg, we also call this equilibrium, because we have certain assumptions that this population is infinitely large. We don't have here assortative mating, we don't have genetic drift, we don't have migration, and all these genotypes would be equally fit. Then this population would be in so-called Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, and all the frequencies that we got here would be correct. Otherwise, we have to add, say, fitness coefficient for each genotype, and then these frequencies also would change. And this is all for today. Thank you for your attention. Please subscribe for my new videos that I post almost every day. Thumbs up if you like this video. Please write your comments, questions if you have any. Share this video with your classmates, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.